Puerto Rico's real estate market is full of insane opportunities. But here's the deal. You're not going to win here without boots on the ground. Let me show you what we've done and how you can do it, and why this is the ultimate hack for crushing it on the island of Puerto Rico. Guys, let me tell you why local partnerships matter so much when you're doing business on the island of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has several unique challenges. One of them would be the legal differences between wherever you are in the States and how the local courts work here. On the island of Puerto Rico, there are legal differences, although they're mainly the same as what we deal with back in the States. Some of them are more based on Spanish colonial laws, kind of outdated stuff that the island has held on to. Doesn't necessarily make it easy for real estate investors or people to come and start businesses like you. However, that's not all. You've also got cultural nuances. For example, the language, right? They say that the official language of the island is Spanish and English, but really the first language of the island is Spanish. When I came to the island, I didn't speak a lick of it. Now, only almost 7 years later, I can order coffee pretty damn well.
Hey, does anybody want coffee?
And so that's why I don't want to go negotiate with a local seller. I want to send a local real estate investor because they speak the language and they can connect with them much better than I can. Another big one that I like is that by partnering with locals, I get more access to off-market deals. And Puerto Rico doesn't have a really good MLS system, so having access to stuff that's off-market and being able to find those deals and communicate with those sellers in the language that they prefer to talk, this gives you a big advantage. Here's why partnering with locals can be so beneficial to you. You can tap into the locals network. They know the people who've got the properties for sale. They know the contractors who are going to show up and do the work and get the stuff done on time and in budget. Puerto Rico is Relationship Island, and by partnering with locals, you get to tap into those networks. Guys, the locals have it dialed in. They give you a huge insider advantage. Not to mention, when you're partnering with a local, you're going to be able to build trust all along the way throughout the community. So how are you going to find these right partners? Some of the places that we've found our partners were just by going on and Googling. When we first came to the island, we Googled local real estate investors. We looked for real estate agents who were selling bank-owned properties. We now attend the local RIA, or even now, we network daily with locals and people from the state, and we connect locals with investors from the states so that more real estate investing can be done on the island in our school community. And the link's in the description. You can join for free. So what are you looking for when you're trying to set up partnerships? Some of the things that I look for, I want to see integrity. I want to partner with people who have a strong local network. And a big one, probably the biggest one, is a willingness to collaborate, which, by the way, on the island of Puerto Rico is one of the best things that we found since we came to the island almost 7 years ago. There's such a willingness to collaborate, and there's such an incredible knowledge of this island. Local entrepreneurs who know their island inside and out, and they want to partner with you, and they want to do deals with you, and they want to make money with you. What are some of the problems that partnering with a local is going to solve for you? The big thing is, and probably one of the most important things, is you're going to have boots on the ground then. Somebody who cares about your business, who's here on the island, who knows the island, knows the people, knows the culture. Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground is key when you're doing business on the island of Puerto Rico. They're also going to help you with deal finding, property management, finding contractors. All of these things can be particularly challenging if you're not speaking the same language, if you don't live here, if you're trying to invest from afar. But all partnerships aren't created equal. And there are pitfalls, and there are things that you need to look for when you're setting up a great partnership. What are some of the things that you need to be careful of? For us, we've always been careful of partnering with people who are overpromising and underdelivering, or that have a lack of follow-through. Follow-through is key. When you're setting up partnerships, you want to do what you say that you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and you want your partner to do what he says he's going to do when he says he's going to do it. If they don't have the good character and they don't have the follow-through, it can lead to a bad partnership, and it can be a costly mistake. Guys, coming to the island almost 7 years ago, we have done nothing but partner with locals every step of the way. When we first came to the island, one of the first things that I did was I looked for local real estate investors and local entrepreneurs and local real estate agents that I could partner with. And from those meetings, when we first came to the island, we met several people that we've continued to do business with for the last 7 years. It was quite apparent when we showed up to the island that I didn't fit in. I stuck out like a sore thumb, right? I was maybe the first guy from the States to come to the island looking to do the kind of real estate investing that we were doing. And so when I went to the local auctions and I sat there One, I didn't speak the language, so that made it difficult, but I picked up the math pretty quick, and I'm bidding on everything. A good friend of mine, his name was Cookie Acosta, one of the first guys that I ever met, sat down next to me after I'd bid on like the first 10 things at the auction, and he put his hand on my leg and he said, "Hey, Robert, we're partners." We bid on a few things. We won a few properties that day, and then we did deals together for several years. Cookie passed away, but I have very fond memories of that. He was a great partner because he knew the island really well. He was very tied into the local real estate investing community, and because I partnered with him, then became very tied into the local real estate investing community. And it really kind of gave us a kickstart, or it gave us a leapfrog over what it would have taken for me to find and get into that community. If I hadn't partnered with Cookie, it could have taken years probably for us to get to where we are today. And for Cookie Acosta, I think it was a win for him as well, because he had a whole bunch of deals that he wanted to do. And like many real estate investors, he wasn't able to do as many deals as he had hoped because he simply didn't have the money. So we had come to the island with some money to invest. It was kind of a match made in heaven, honestly. He was bringing us deals. He was willing to put his money where his mouth is, and he was willing to jump in, roll his sleeves up, and do the work. So we did several flips that first year. We bought some things that we were going to hold for the long term. I even did some things where I lent him money, where he just did deals. He would bring me a deal, and I'd say, "I've got enough on my plate." And he would say, "Well, I really want to do this deal. Will you lend me the money?" I lent him the money. Everything we did kind of turned to gold. It went really, really well. So that was a really good partnership. And guys, I've got story after story like that. We've done dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of partnerships at this point, 7 years into investing on the island of Puerto Rico. So you're probably asking yourself, how do I structure a profitable partnership? I'm going to tell you, stay tuned. We like to do a 50-50 deal. So what does that mean? That means that someone finds the deal and does the work. Someone else puts up the money, and the money gets half and the work gets half. For example, going back to Cookie Acosta, he would bring us deals, and I would get them funded. He would pretty much do the work. He would take care of the renovations on these flips. He would find it, he would renovate it, and he would even get it sold on the back end. Plus, he would put some money in, so it was a really good way for us to get a taste of real estate investing on the island. We did 50-50 deals where we brought the lion's share of the money. He did the lion's share of the work. He would put in some money. We would do some of the work. So it was a match made in heaven. That was what we looked for. We like to do these 50-50 deals. But you don't have to do 50-50 deals. You do you. One thing that was really important when we first started out on the island is that we wanted to identify what our partnership would look like going into it. So ahead of time, we would write down, actually, either in a contract, or what we liked to do is we would open up one-off LLCs to buy an asset. So we would buy a piece of property using an LLC, and inside of that LLC, we would invite our local partners to come in, and they would own the LLC with us. And we would identify ahead of time who was going to do what, who was going to put the money in, and how we were going to divide up the profits, right? The spoils go to the victor. And at the end of the day, when we would sell the property, everybody would get their money back, and we would split it up. Again, we liked to do 50-50 deals. And as long as you are setting up your partnership structure ahead of time, putting it down in writing, and then sticking to what you say, you're going to do well with partnerships. We like to do these one-off partnerships because we do so many partnerships that they're not all going to go well. Make sure that you've written everything down before you get into the partnership. I believe that it's just so important. You stick with what you write down. If you have any questions about who's supposed to do what, look back to the document before you started. If you have any questions about how the money's supposed to get split up, look back to how you wrote it down before you started the partnership, and you stay with that. Anytime I've seen partnerships where they're trying to change who's going to do what and who's going to get paid what, those partnerships always fall apart. They don't ever last. You're not going to end up doing the next deal with each other. So you got to fight like hell to stick to your deal. Do what you said you're going to do, and you want both sides of this to be true. Here are some common mistakes that you can avoid. Don't rush into partnerships without vetting the people that you're going to get into business with. I like to do business with people who have a track record of success. We like to partner with people, and we invite partnerships all the time, and I like to showcase our track record of success. That's one of the reasons that we started this YouTube channel. So when you're going to get into bed with someone and you're going to become someone's partner, it's okay to Google search them. It's okay to look at their business and ask them questions and have them show you what have they done in the past. Why do they think they can be successful with this venture that you're about to get into? If they can't answer those questions, if they don't have that track record of success, if they're unwilling to let you peel back the curtains and see who they are, Be very careful of that person. You want to have people that will answer questions and tell you, look you in the eye and tell you who they are and what they've done and when they've been successful and when they haven't been successful. Here's a big one that I think you should really, really work hard to avoid. That's failing to bring value to the partnerships. Guys, this is critical for you. Don't be a bad partner. You're going to do partnerships. They need to be win-win. What's that mean? That means you need to pull your own weight. You can't just put everything on the shoulders of your local partner and expect that they're going to do everything and that you're going to do nothing. Your money doesn't mean so much. It's not the most important part of the deal. In fact, one of the things that we say on this YouTube channel again and again is that the money is not the most important part of the thing. So if you're just a money partner and you're going to be a silent partner and let the local guy run the show and make all the decisions, that's fine. But if you're doing some other type of partnership where you guys are both expected to kind of carry the load to get the ball across the finish line, you need to be a good partner. Accept responsibility, do the things that you say that you're going to do them in a timely manner, take the calls, answer the questions, do all the things that is required. Partnerships are a great thing. They're a wonderful way to do business, especially on the island of Puerto Rico. Having been here for almost 7 years, the island is one of the most collaborative places I've ever been. In fact, it's probably the most joyous or most surprising thing that I found once I came to the island. I've never been in a place like this before where people want to do things together, kind of part of the culture. They want to do business together. They want to partner together. It's a wonderful place to collaborate. So remember this, guys. Locals, they're not just an add-on. They're a key to scaling your business. They're a key to your success. In fact, I would say that if you're going to try to do this from the mainland and you don't have boots on the ground, you don't have a good local partner, you're probably not going to be successful. And here's the little known strategy we talked about in the video earlier. This is something that we did when we first came to the island. I think it was probably the smartest thing that we could ever do. And I would highly recommend that anybody who's watching this that wants to be in the real estate investing game do this as well. We sought out local real estate investors and local real estate agents who were friendly to real estate investors. And we asked them to show us deals, bring us opportunities, and then we invited them to partner with us. We said, hey, if we buy this property, will you put your commission in and invest a little bit extra money in and stay in on the back end? And by doing that, we were able to have some successful wins. We were able to bring people alongside of us that maybe weren't real estate investors. They were just real estate agents up until the point that we came to the island, and now they're full-on real estate investors. And we were able to buy properties where we may not have had the data. We didn't know for sure that it was the best deal in the world, but the real estate agent or the real estate investor who was bringing it to us was willing to go in on the deal with us and put their money where their mouth was and roll their sleeves up and go to work like Cookie Acosta, who I talked about earlier in the video. Guys, we did this with a half a dozen people that we are still doing business with today. When we first got to the island, I believe in the first weekend that we were here, we interviewed or talked to 12 different real estate agents and real estate investors who all were bringing us deals. We told them that we were real estate investors who were coming to the island and that we wanted to buy some houses to fix up and sell. We wanted to buy some houses to fix up and keep and rent, and we invited people to bring their deals to us. And then once the people brought us their deals, we would ask, hey, if you think this is a great deal, would you put some money in it? Will you stay in the deal with us? Half of them said, listen, Robbie, I'm just a real estate agent. I'm not interested in becoming a real estate investor. So I knew instantly, those aren't my people. And we didn't buy those deals unless the real estate agents or real estate investors willing to stay in the deal with us. The other 6, they said, hell yeah, I'll put my commission in. I'll even throw in another $5,000 or $10,000 and I'll help you find the contractor and we'll get it sold on the back end. And guys, by doing this, we were able to safely buy properties. We were able to have big wins right off early on. As soon as we got to the island, we hit the ground running, and you can too. And if you like that, watch this video about Act 182. It's the most exciting thing that's happened on the island of Puerto Rico in some time.